It is well, it is well with my soul. It is well, it is well, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul, fellow viewers. Welcome back to our channel. In our last episode, we learned how Rachel dared Jacob that supposing Jacob was not going to give her babies, then she would better die. Let us see what episode 31 contains for us, because Jacob is fleeing from Laban. What could it be? Jacob heard that Laban's sons were saying, and I quote, "Jacob has taken everything our father owned and has gained all this wealth from what belonged to our father." And Jacob noticed that Laban's attitude toward him was not what it had been. Jacob is reading sinister motives, different stuff that he had not seen before. Then the Lord said to Jacob, "Go back to the land of your fathers and to your relatives. I will be with you." That is assurance that God is giving to Laban. Want to believe, even if you are the one and God have given you such kind of assurance, you will run very fast. So Jacob sent word to Rachel and Leah to come out to the fields where his flocks were. Said to them, "I see that your father's attitude toward me is not what it was before, but the God of my father has been with me." The God of my father. Do you also observe? Would you also tell somebody that the God of your father is doing something for you? That the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have worked for your father with all my strength, and indeed Jacob worked for Laban. Yet your father has cheated me by changing my wages 10 times. However, God has not allowed him to harm me. God had protected Jacob. If he said, "The speckled ones will be your wages," then all the flocks gave birth to the speckled young. And if he said, "The strict ones will be your wages," then all the flocks bore strict young. Meaning that he had a plan, possibly, that something could not happen, but it used to happen the opposite. You see, it's like you tell somebody that, okay, this is a coin. If it's going to land on this particular side, then it's going to be mine. But if it lands onto the other side whenever you're toasting a coin, then it's going to be yours. But luck was for Jacob, because the side that Laban had proposed that was going to belong to him, that is the side that and the other side will belong to Laban. So all the time when these flocks were giving birth, they were giving birth to this other side that Laban had said that is going to belong to Jacob. Otherwise, he thought that supposing he could say the opposite way, then all the flocks were going to remain with him. But who is God for you? That is the God of Jacob's father. It's a good God. Try to be closer to that God, God of heaven and earth. So God has taken away your father's livestock and has given them to me. So in other words, all those livestock that were born by that time belonged to him, so to Jacob. So this is how luck comes, when maybe the society is thinking that otherwise, maybe you've been forsaken, or maybe they are planning to frustrate your life, then all along all the luck that comes falls onto your way always belongs to you. This is how luck comes from God. This is the miracle that people see. When your enemies pray the opposite, then the other way happens to be your luck. In breeding season, I once had a dream in which looked up and saw that the male goats mating with the flock was striped and speckled or spotted. The angel of God said to me in the dream, "Jacob." I answered, "Here I am." And he said, "Look up and see that all the male goats mating with the flock are striped, speckled, or spotted, for I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you." So this was the work of God. God had seen all that Laban was doing to Jacob, and in the other way, God decided to pay back to the sweat that Jacob had done, to the good job that Jacob had done to Laban. God paid that by doing this miracle, that all the animals, all the livestock were giving birth to what was supposed to belong to Jacob. Same way will happen to you from wherever you are watching this video. All that your enemies are planning for you will turn against them. That is the power of the Lord. That is how God works. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and where you made a vow to me. Now leave this land at once and go back to your native land. God, for you, even you that you are stranded somewhere, you've really done some good work for somebody somewhere, even if it is in an organization, you've really done so well, but you are not being recognized. I'm telling you, God is going to recognize you in a better way. I know of institutions where people have really done their best, but the owners of those particular institutions are denying them those chances for recognition or growth. But I want to tell you, God has got a better way and a better formula of rewarding you. So don't worry. Hurry on. Walk out. Let God do his work. This is interesting. Then Rachel and Leah replied, "Do we still have any share in the inheritance of our father's estate?" They're also asking themselves, why does he not regard us as foreigners? Why do you think that Rachel and Leah are saying so? They're asking themselves that does he not regard us? They're convinced that their father is now regarding them as foreigners. Why? Not only has he sold us, but he has used up what was paid for us. All the dowries, all the work that Jacob had done, all the payment that Jacob had done to Laban in favor of these two beautiful ladies. Yes, so this is the reason why they are talking as such. Surely all the wealth that God took away from our father belongs to us and our children. So do whatever God has told you. They were so courageous enough, and they were so convinced in Jacob's words. They had accepted Jacob fully, and they are telling him that, okay, fine, do not worry, do not doubt whatever God has told you. Please carry on. Let's go. Let's move on. The same way, even to you today, God has given you some message through a dream, through a message like now what we are reading here. Please, sister, brother, from wherever you are, mother, my sister, my father, my grandfather, or guardian, whoever you are to me, please, soldier on, move on. Get starting today, now, so that you do what God has told you. Then Jacob put his children and his wives on camels, and he drove all his livestock ahead of him, along with all the goods he had accumulated in Padan Aram, to his father's Isaac in the land of Canaan. So Jacob decided to move on, same way God had promised to protect him. God of Nazareth, this is God that we're supposed to love. This is God that we're supposed to observe and to worship every day. When Laban had gone to share his sheep, Rachel stole her father's house gods. Rachel could have been a very funny character. I don't know whether you are also a character like Rachel. I know there are ladies who are of such character. Now, moreover, Jacob deceived Laban, the Aramean, by not telling him he was running away. Jacob sneaked out. He did not open up to Laban that he was going to leave. So he fled with all he had across to Euphrates River and headed for the hill county of Gilead. Gilead or Gilead, that is it. This is another place where he went to stay. So that is where Laban went to. Right now, if you are stranded, I want to encourage you also just to move. God has got a plan for you. Move on, my friend. Now, let us see, when Laban realized that Jacob was nowhere within his estate, he decided to pursue Jacob. On the third day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. Taking his relatives with him, he pursued Jacob for 7 days and caught up with him in the hill country of Gilead. Then God came to Laban, the Aramean, in a dream at night and said to him, God spoke to Laban. There is a message that God wants to give. Let us see which one is this. Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. That was a stern warning. This is how God is dealing with your enemies. This is how God is dealing with people who are after you, people who are pursuing you. They're like, okay, fine. As much as you are pursuing so and so, whenever you come across him, do not dare touch him. Do not. That is the power of the Lord. Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country of Gilead when Laban overtook him. And Laban and his relatives camped there too. So you see, he's there, but he doesn't know what to do, rather what to say. Then Laban said to Jacob, what have you done to me? As you know, he was pursuing him. Now they have come on one, and he's now throwing a very honest and simple, easy question. What have you done to me? As opposed to what I'm probably thinking that he could have pursued this Jacob, and one they could maybe possibly fight, open a war between them. But in this case, since God had given him directives, a very stern warning, instructions of what to do, he went to there politely and was like, what have you done to me? You've deceived me and you've carried off my daughters like captives in war. Why did you run off secretly and deceive me? Now he's very polite. Why did you run off? Secretly deceived me. Why did you deceive me, Jacob? Why didn't you tell me so I could send you away with joy and singing to the music of timbrels and harps. Do you think he could have done that? Do you think he could have produced some nice song or composed some nice song for Jacob? The way things were with him, because Jacob had realized that, okay, the attitude of Laban has changed towards me. What could be the problem? Do you think with that kind of attitude, he still could have composed or done any music to Jacob? I doubt. You didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye. That didn't happen. Why do you think he did not do that? You have done a foolish thing. Laban is raising his voice. But remember, this condition has been given by the only one, God, that you dare do anything silly, then we're going to be with you. Why? You have done a foolish thing. I have the power to harm you, but last night, now he's opening up what happened, what transpired, why he's not going to harm Jacob. The same way your enemy will come and confess before you that, okay, I have wronged you, but you see, thank God, your God has done something. I have the power to harm you, but last night the God of your father said to me, the God, are you also strong? Can the God of your father stand by you? Fellow viewers, what do you say about that God that your father worships? What do you say about him? Can he protect you? Can he give you some way? Can he give you some light? Can he give you some power? Can he give you some protection? The same way it's happening in this case, in Laban and Jacob's case. Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. That is what God told him. But remember, Laban is telling Jacob that he has got the powers to harm. But last night, the God of your father said to me, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Do not say. Now you have gone off because you longed to return to your father's household. But why did you steal my gods? We've seen that Rachel stole his father's gods, but now he doesn't believe that it's Rachel. He's now putting everything on Jacob's shoulder. But because Jacob knew exactly what happened, Jacob answered Laban, I was afraid because I thought you would take your daughters away from me by force. He had got no trust. He had lost trust between him and Laban. And he's opening it to him now that I could not tell you because I feared you may. And remember, sometimes back he had done a lot of work in that particular homestead, but things change. And that's the reason why I'm encouraging you. You've worked in an institution, you've done a lot, but nothing is happening. Please move out. But if you find anyone who has your gods, that person shall not live. In the presence of our relatives, see for yourself whether there is anything of yours here with me. And if so, take it. So he's been given a guarantee that, okay, fine, get in, walk in, do search everywhere, in any corner, every place. If you get anything that belongs to you in front of our relatives, take it. Now Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the gods. Yes, while Rachel is the one who had stolen his father's gods, Jacob did not know. So Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the tent of the two female servants, but he found nothing, never found them. After he came out of Leah's tent, he entered Rachel's tent. But Rachel created a scene. Now Rachel had taken the household gods and put them inside her camel's shoulder. saddle and was sitting on them. Very funny character. Laban searched through everything in the tent but found nothing. Laban turned everything upside down, but he found nothing. Rachel said to her father, "Don't be angry, my lord, that I cannot stand up in your presence. I am having my period." That is what she did. Like, see, funny, but allow me, when you give one another date, for the ones that are still dating, and you're not very careful, or rather you are not trusting, then you go home, you visit. Now when you need to catch up, then you tell your boyfriend, please forgive me, I'm on my period. You see, this is the same way, because you know very well, the moment you say you're a lady, and you say you are on your period, a man will never interfere with you. You will be like a plague. You'll be avoided like a plague. This is what happened here. So Laban never interfered. So he searched but could not find the household gods. Rachel is a funny character. Jacob was angry and took Laban to task. "What is it? What is my crime?" he asked Laban. "How have I wronged you that you hunt me down? What have I done wrong that is making you even to chase, to pursue me, to run after me even up to where I am? What is it that I have done to you? What wrong have I done?" Laban. Jacob was hungry, so he asked that kind of question. The same way, I know even you could ask such a question. You've done your best to somebody, but again, still, you had really committed to the agreement, to the contract you had signed, but still after leaving, you're still being chased. You're still being pursued. That, okay, fine, you've run away with my God, you've stolen all that kind of things. Now that you have searched through all my goods, what have you found that belongs to your household? Jacob is asking Laban those questions. "Put it here in front of your relatives and mine, and let them judge between the two of us." See, between the two of us, put it, what have you found? You've alleged that I've stolen. You've alleged that I've done A, B, C, D. What have you found in my house? These things happen even in the society we live. Somebody will just say that you have done something to him or you've wronged him, while in the real sense, you've not done so. So when you are put to task, okay, now prove that I am the one who have wronged you, then you start looking like you're lost, you're confused. I'm telling you, never joke around with sons of God. "I have been with you for 20 years now. Your sheep and goats have not miscarried, nor have I eaten rams from your flocks. I did not bring you animals torn by wild beasts. I bore the loss myself, and you demanded payment from me for whatever was stolen by day or night." See what a situation. This was my situation when I was living with you. Each and everything that happened wrong, anything wrong, Jacob had to pay. The heat consumed me in the daytime, and the cold at night, and sheep fled from my eyes. Still, you are following me here. You want me to accuse me that I've stolen your goods. I did all these good things to you. It was like this for the 20 years I was in your household. I worked for you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flocks, and you changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, again, Jacob is bringing in the name of the God of his father, the God of Abraham and the fear of Isaac, had not been with me, you would surely have sent me away empty-handed. Oh, so what is it that, this is the main question I'm asking you, friends. What is it that God is doing for you because of your great-grandfathers or grandfathers? God of Abraham and Isaac is doing some miracle, He protected Jacob. He has made Jacob be who Jacob was. Wow. But God has seen my hardship and the toil of my hands, and last night he rebuked you. What happened to you last night is because of what God saw in me, the kind of honesty I poured when I was working for you, when I became your servant, when I became like your slave. I did all that I could do in your homestead or in your estate. That is what God saw in me, the honesty, the kindness. And this is the reason why God is rebuking you. Hallelujah. Laban answered Jacob, the women are my daughters, the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks. All you see is mine. Yet, what can I do today about these daughters of mine, or about the children they have borne? Come now, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it serve as a witness between us. Laban have realized there's no way out. The only way out is we must make an agreement. We must sign a covenant between me and this nephew of mine. Wow. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. He said to his relatives, gather some stones. So they took stones and piled them in a heap. And they ate there by the heap. Laban called it Jaga Shahaduda. And Jacob called it Galid. Get something to act as a witness when you are negotiating, when you are making an agreement, you're signing an understanding between you. So in this situation, they had to bring a stone and put up a pillar that would act as a witness. The story is great. Laban said, this heap is a witness between you and me today. That is why it is called Galid. It was also called Mizpah, because he said, may the Lord keep watch between you and me when we are away from each other. They are now negotiating. They are making an agreement. Very cordial. Very cordial. If you mistreat my daughters, or if you take away any wives besides my daughters, even though no one is with us, remember that God is a witness between you and me. Laban does not want Jacob to add any other more women for his daughters. Laban also said to Jacob, here is this heap, and here is the pillar I have set up between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness, that I will not go past this heap to your side to harm you, and that you will not go past this heap and pillar to my side to harm me. Make a negotiation, make a covenant, make an agreement, and let there be a witness. So in this case, they had to make stones. You know, human beings could betray you. By the end of the day, you say, we agree today, then the other day they change their minds. But in this situation, I think this was just a wisdom God had given these people. So they decided to put up a stone so that they make an agreement that, okay, fine, please do not do A. I am also not going to do A. If we do A, you do B, then God is a witness. And these stones and pillars are also going to be witnesses. May the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us. That was Laban's prayer. So Jacob took an oath in the name of the fear of his father Isaac, offered a sacrifice there in the hill country, and invited his relatives to a meal. After they had eaten, they spent the night there. Early the next morning, Laban kissed his children, grandchildren, and his daughters and blessed them. Then he left and returned home. That is the end of the story, fellow viewers, fellow friends. Remember to subscribe to our channel. Love you so much. But